This is the book of Ecclesiastes, chapter 3, and verse 1. To everything there is a season, and a time to every purpose under the heaven. Verse 8. A time to love and a time to hate, a time of war and a time of peace. All right, Shalom Yasharallah, Shalom Israel. Before we go any further within this lesson, I want to open up by giving all praises, honor, and glory with infinite blessings unto Yahweh, Bahashem, Yahweh Shai, Bahashem, Racha HaChodesh. And I also want to give double honors to our beloved elder bishops and to the elder apostles, the great millstone that teach well and that rule well, with much blessings and salutations going out to the hopeful elect, to the Akim, Wa for you Arquaf that are tuning in, Wa, the Akim, which are truthfully and sincerely laboring within His truth, scattered across the four corners of the earth, wherever you may be. Yahweh, Bahashem, Yahweh Shai, Barakatham unto you and to your households as we are approaching, those evil days, these evil times in which we are surely living in, And right now, what we're seeing around the world, we're seeing biblical prophecy unfolding right in front of our very eyes. And what you see right here from Express Co, a UK based site, news site, but the heading of it says World War III fears erupt as North Korea fires ICBM towards Japan, in which our ICBM is an interconnected ballistic missile. All right, and it says North Korea has launched ballistic missiles towards Japan, sparking World War III fears as the Japanese defense minister branded the hermit state a serious problem. All right, because we are living in serious times. All right. It says North Korea launched several ballistic missiles towards Japan on Sunday, sparking fears across the region and leading the Japanese government and South Korea to issue condemning statements. The missiles, which flew 560 miles, were a direct violation of a UN Security Council resolution that banned the hermit state of North Korea from such launches. Japan, however, issued a blistering statement, with the Japanese defense minister Shinjiro Kozami saying North Korea was a serious problem and telling reporters that the country was threatening the peace and security of our nation. The region and the world, the United States military said that they were committed to the defense of the U.S. homeland and our allies in the region, but that the launches did not pose an intimate danger. North Korea has ramped up major weapons demonstrations over the past few weeks. Experts said that the country was attempting to show off its achievements in the defense sector ahead of the upcoming session of the ruling party's Congress. All right. And this is just, one of many tensions, that is flaring, or that's happening, in the world, man. which is ultimately, leading up to the inevitable right here, World War III. So let's grab another article. All right, actually, let's get this video, then we can grab another article. Let's get this video, Telegram, real quick. Okay, what you're seeing there, it's basically them flexing their muscles, man. They're flexing those missiles. And it's soon going to come a time to where these missiles that they're flexing, okay, they're going to put these missiles to use. Okay. Let's read up on this. Because everything that's going on around the world, all right, what we're seeing is the book of signs. All right, like Matthew chapter 24, but it says Trump demands Venezuela kick out China and Russia, partner only with U.S., which is the United States, on oil exclusive. Okay. Because recently what just went on, that's happened this week, all right, the first week coming or going into, this new year, 2026, all right, what you had was Trump set out an order, okay, or a task force, a hit to capture Maduro, which was the Venezuelan president, okay, and to set him and to put him on trial over here in the United States for his so-called drug trafficking, all right, and basically for his drug trafficking crimes that were set up against him, and now that the president Maduro has been captured and taken as a prisoner of the United States, is being held on trial, the United States has taken over that jurisdiction of Venezuela and seized trillions, okay, of the oil reserves that belong over there, in which in a couple of videos and talks, all right, President Donald Trump has said that they will seize, seize the Venezuelan, okay, oil. Let's see. Trump. Okay. And these are all articles, you guys can look up, but it says from the CNN. All right, this is the source. And the heading reads, Trump says Venezuela would turn over 30 million to 50 million barrels of oil to the United States. President Donald Trump said Tuesday night that Venezuela would turn over 30 to 50 million barrels of oil to the United States to be sold at market value and with the proceeds controlled by the United States. Interior authorities in Venezuela would turn over sanctioned oil, Trump said on Truth Social. The U.S. will use the proceeds to benefit the people of Venezuela and the United States, he wrote. All right, in which we understand that what's coming out of this man's mouth is lies, okay? Because the Bible says elsewhere something else. All right, the Bible tells us the true nature of these damn Edomites, man. Okay, these words are faithful and true. We know how these devils get down. All right, evil. Okay, so let's grab this right quick. The book of Ecclesiastes, chapter 14 and verse 5. He that is evil to himself, to whom will he be good? He shall not take pleasure in his goods. All right. You see how he treats his own Americans. All right. The average Babylonian citizen over here in America. How much more you Jakes, you Asherites over there in Venezuela? This is not for your benefit. The ceasing of that oil, all right, and Trump saying how he's going to manage that oil and give back to the people over there in that country, it's lies, man. Not to mention, these devils have a perpetual hatred for the tribes. So them being in jurisdiction over there, man, you Israelites over there, okay, you finna go through some hell. You finna go through hell, okay? Because this devil don't even take care of his own people. How much more, all right, the nation of people from generation to generation that this devil has had a perpetual hatred for, man. So you're not in good hands. All right. It says the U.S. will use the proceeds to benefit the people of Venezuela and the United States, he wrote in his lies. It says Energy Secretary Chris Wright has been directed to execute this plan immediately, and the barrels will be taken by storage ships and brought directly to unloading docks in the United States. Yeah, because it's all about money. Okay, it's all about greed for this devil, man. Okay, it says CNN has reached out to the White House for more information. A senior administration official speaking under condition of anonymity told CNN that the oil has already been produced and put in barrels. So these devils, they know what they were doing, man. And it was always, their target wasn't to stop the drug trafficking or, drugs from, drugs getting in from Venezuela to America. It was always about, capturing and stealing those resources that Venezuela was rich in. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. So, no, I don't need a red jacket. I don't know. But Salakia. But yeah, man, that's basically what's going on, what's happening. This devil, all right, the Edomite, showing his just true nature. Okay. Let's read a little bit more on this though. All right. So let's go back to this article because it says how Trump demands Venezuela kick out China and Russia. Partner only with U.S. on oil exclusive. It says the Trump administration has told Venezuela's interim president Delcy Rodriguez that the regime must meet the White House demand before being allowed to pump more oil, according to 3 people familiar with the administration's plan. First, the country must kick out China, Russia, Iran, and Cuba, and sever economic ties. Okay, in which this is only fueling that fire between these nations more and more. All right. This is that little horn, okay, spoken in the book of Daniel, chapter 7, and I'm sure it's verse 20. Let's go to it real quick. Basically pissing off the rest of these nations, man. In which all this is going to lead to the downfall of America, man, aka Babylon the Great. All right. Exactly, right here. But it says the sources said second. It says first the country must kick out China, Russia, Iran, and Cuba, and sever economic ties. The sources said second, Venezuela must agree to partner exclusively with the United States on oil production and favor America when selling heavy crude oil, they added. According to one person, Secretary of State Marco Rubio told lawmakers in a private briefing on Monday that he believes the United States can force Venezuela's hand because its existing oil tankers are full. Rubio also told lawmakers that the United States estimates that Caracas has only a couple of weeks before it will become financially insolvent without the sale of its oil reserves, in which this is the devil at working at his best, man. Okay, so they went over there, they took all of the oil of Venezuela, and now what they're doing is they're ceasing, not only the production but the selling of the Venezuela's oil, and they're giving them basically an ultimatum to where if Venezuela doesn't bend to the knee of Babylon, the hammer of the earth, okay, that they're basically going to end up like the rest of these countries, man, that dibbled and dabbled in the bed with this beast, okay? Country going to shit. All right, and this is that hammer of the earth. You know, America is that hammer, bro. Let me see here. Okay. Jeremiah chapter 50 and verse 23. How is the hammer of the whole earth cut asunder and broken? In which this is talking about America, bro. Because America uses its tactics, okay, its ideologies, okay, it uses its philosophies, okay, grateful on his democracy to invade and step in matters that don't belong to them, and ultimately, okay, to to dominate over other nations and other countries. All right, to get what they want out of these places, man. All right, ultimately to milk these places dry. All right, we see a great example of what they're doing right now to Venezuela. All right, to steal and to lie, man. That's all America is, bro. All right, but soon America downfall will meet its downfall, man, by the hands of these nations. Okay, it's pissing off, it's ripping off, man. It says, how is Babylon become a desolation among the nations? And we're seeing how it's coming. It's we're seeing parts take place and things that are happening, which is going to lead up to America becoming desolate, all right, and being broken, okay, because they're only putting themselves into a ditch. They're separating themselves, all right, by that pride, by Trump, okay. He's only digging a deeper ditch for America, right, and the people, man, because it's separating itself, okay, and which these other nations are gonna have enough to where the point they're gonna fall out and go all up against America at once. They're gonna team up against America, bro. And we're seeing these things, lead up to it. All right. By these tensions that are taking place. All right. These little things the little fuck shit that America's doing, bro. All right. Luke chapter 12 and verse 49. I gotta grab this, man. All right. So the book of Luke chapter 12 and verse 49. It reads, I am come to send fire on the earth, and what will I if it be already kindled? Because we understand, man, what's taking place is ultimately leading up to the return of our Lord Yahushua. All right, but before he makes his return, there will be fights and disagreements, okay, wars and tensions between nations, all right, which is ultimately going to lead to Yahushua, introducing that nuclear fire, call it by Shema Shai, all right, to Babylon the Great, man. It's a lot going on, bro, okay? It should be even more articles I should be breaking out, but it says Denmark will shoot first and ask questions later if the U.S. invades Greenland. Denmark will shoot first and ask questions later if U.S. decides to invade Greenland, Army rule state. Tensions have been escalating this week over the Trump administration's threats to use the U.S. military to seize the island. All right. It says, despite furious warnings from Europe's leaders, including Sir Karl Starmer, that they will not stop defending Greenland. So he's even making enemies amongst their allies. Okay, because we understand that Greenland is a part of Denmark, all right, is tied in with Greenland, and they are all a part of NATO, in which America themselves are a part of NATO. But through Trump's power hungry, that hunger he has for, dominance, and that pride that is powering these devils to continue to conquer, to steal, this is going to ultimately lead up to a falling out of these allies, of these nations, all right, of America's allies, which will soon turn into their foes, which is enemies. It says the Danish Defense Ministry today confirmed there is a 1952 rule requiring soldiers to attack invading forces immediately without awaiting orders. The Defense Ministry added that the rule remains in force when questioned about its status by Danish newspaper Bergensk. It comes as Donald Trump and his top advisors explore plans, including purchasing Greenland or taking charge of its defense. A senior administration official said this week. Okay, and what if they don't want to sell Greenland? All right, you know what they're gonna do? They're gonna come in. Babylon is gonna come in, okay, or put some type of propaganda up or demonization against those who are in rulership over there, or in Denmark, or in Greenland, and by their lies, by their philosophies, by their democracy and their propaganda, they're gonna make a move. All right. It says the White House threateningly told how utilizing the U.S. military is always an option, and that's with them resorting back to their sword, because this is the devil. Okay, this is Rome. Okay, this was that beast that was healed by a sword, okay, and that was wounded by a sword and did live. This is Rome again. America is spiritually Rome. Okay, And Rome was also always known for their military might, their power, okay, and their fierceness. Okay, if you didn't want to become an ally to them, you know, basically they will run your ass through, run you down, man. And it's no difference from today. This is why you hear him say it, okay? It says the White House threateningly told how utilizing the U.S. military is always an option. And this just going to them using their sword, all right? And it says, and warned the issue is not going away despite the protests of NATO leaders. Trump has argued that the U.S. needs to control Greenland to ensure NATO security against rising threats from China and Russia in the Arctic. But it's just only making more troubles for them. All right, you know. So, yeah, this is beautiful, bro. Heavy time of prophecy, man, we're living in. Let's get the book of Matthew, chapter 24. All right, because, hey, let me get that. Let's get Psalms. Time for the work. Where's that? The book of Psalms, chapter 119. All right. And let's start out verse 125. It says, I am thy servant. Give me understanding that I may know thy testimonies. Okay. And the Lord has given us understanding. All right. We have the eyesight. Okay. We have ultimately the Spirit of the Lord, which the Spirit of the Lord is the spirit of prophecy, man, which allows us to see these things, to understand what's taking place. All right, and ultimately, every step is coordinated and ordained how Yahweh Shai has set it up, man. All right, verse 126, it says, it is time for thee, Yahweh, to work. And surely the Lord is working, man. It says, for they have made void thy law. Okay. And we're about to see. All right. We're about to see. All right. The whore. Okay. Get judged, man. We're about to see the downfall of our enemies. All right. We're living in that time, man. That great judgment is coming to the earth. Okay. Ultimately, this is what we're looking at. Let's get the book of Revelation, chapter 14. Let me see. Actually, chapter 9. I think it's 9 and verse 14. Oh, this is cool. Revelation chapter 9 and verse 12, it says, one woe is past. All right, which one woe represents, all right, the woe represents wars. All right, in which within these wars, which these major world wars that took place, within it was great death and destruction. And it says one woe is past, which is referring to World War I, which we know that was a thing of the past. And it says, and behold, there come two woes more hereafter. All right, which these is going into World War II and World War III, in which we understand World War II has already came to pass, but now there is a buildup of World War III that is taking place. All right, and soon to happen. So let's get Revelation. What is that? Revelation. The third woe cometh quickly. Revelation chapter 11 and verse 14. It says the second woe is past. All right, and which I just mentioned. That's talking about World War II. It's a thing of the past, man. Hey, hold on. Scripture says, and behold, the third woe cometh quickly. And we're seeing it come quickly. So World War III it's inevitable. All right, and it's soon to happen. Okay? These things aren't taking place for no reason, man. All right. Let his will be done, man. May Yahweh Ba'ashim Yahushai's will be done. So Lord willing, this lesson was edifying. You know, in closing, I'm going to give all praises, honor, and glory with infinite blessings unto Yahweh, Bahashim, Yahweh Shai, Bahashim, Rakah HaKodash. Till next time I say Shalom.